Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining theLender. Coffee with NONI is our theme today, so I thank you for taking 30 minutes of your day to have a cup of coffee with NONI. For those of you who join us for the first time, NONI is our spokesperson for our staple product, the non-owner, no income, which we call NONI. So welcome. So I am Elizabeth Schermerhorn, and I actually date back to the 90s in this non-QM space that we used to call subprime. I have, in the last few years, had a lot of fun in the last 4 years building 2 new non-QM platforms, so that's been exciting. And then my love since the 90s has been to help brokers and account executives be successful in selling and funding non-QM loans. So I'm excited you guys are here. So today's agenda, what are we going to talk about? So for those of you that are new to NONI, what is a NONI? And are there a lot of non-owner investment properties in the U.S.? Is this a real market opportunity, Liz, or is this some shiny object product, right? How to use the NONI calculator so that you protect your leads and referrals and never misquote. What if a product doesn't DSCR? Do you have a loan if rents don't cover that mortgage? Also find out how brokers are making big commissions with 14-day closings without headaches, without a bunch of bank statements and full doc loans. And NONI celebrates and shares all the deals she funded last month and that funded in 14 days and the big commissions that were paid out. We have a super NONI story, and we'll share what being a super NONI is, but if you become a super NONI with theLender, we give you free leads, and we want to share a super NONI story of a broker who signed up immediately and already got an amazing lead. And then NONI's big surprise announcement. So here we go. Okay, so what is the NONI? The NONI is a non-owner, no-income product. It's a simplified DSCR product. So it's designed for business purpose loans, 1 to 4 unit commercial loans. We will be doing above 4 units in the coming months, but today we are 1 to 4 units, and yes, we are calling that business commercial loans. So don't get confused. I don't do warehouses or strip centers. It's 1 to 4 units. Our loan is simple. It's no income or employment collected on the loan application. There's no 4506T, transcripts, W-2s, or tax returns, or bank statements, right? Qualification is simply based on the cash flow for that property. So somebody could have 100 properties, and I don't care. I am simply qualifying off rents off of that subject property. So all we do is we take that rental income on the existing lease or the rent survey, and I compare that to the mortgage payment. You've got a NONI when your rent covers your interest-only, tax, insurance, and if there's association payment, one-on-one. It is the easiest non-QM loan in the marketplace. Again, we are closing in 15, 14 days or less. Our rates are in the 5% range. And what I love is that we don't clog your processing teams with bank statement loans that sit for 30 or 45 days. So we're excited to bring this to you. I wanted you to visually understand that the NONI has been simplified. There's a lot of DSCR products out in the marketplace, but they have a lot of pricing adjustments. So you think that you have a certain rate because that's what you're quoted by your AE, but somebody forgot about a pricing adjustment. So Brian Filke, who created this proprietary product for us, he's very well known in the mortgage industry, he wanted to simplify the process and keep us error-free, because in the mortgage industry, we've got a lot going on, we multitask, and there's a lot of errors made. So no pricing adjustments helps you not make mistakes. So no pricing adjustments for cash out, units, interest only, condos, gift funds allowed. When was the last time you did a no income, non-owner loan with no reserves with gift funds? That's incredible. It's just not allowed. We have 3 credit tiers, very simple, not 15 different credit score tiers, but 3. We'll go to $3.5 million. That's our max loan amount. $2 million cash out. Yes, cash out, $2 million. That's huge. We'll do 80 LTV, no income, no reserves for purchases and rate and term. Our FICO's dropped to as low as 620. It's been a long time since we've heard that anything's available like this. Finance properties, there's no limit on number of finance properties. We allow foreclosure, short sale, loan mods, as long as they are 36 months seasoned. And please remember, sometimes loan mods don't fall into a housing occurrence. So we just recently closed a NONI that had 2 mods, and because they didn't fall into a housing occurrence, and there's certain things that loan mods would do that make you fall into that, we actually did that loan with 2 mods, so that was incredible. We offer fixed ARMs and interest onlys. We also offer soft prepays, and we'll go through that. No reserves, and we qualify at a 1% versus a 1.15. So I love this screen. Are all cash flow programs created equal? You're going to have a lot of account executives selling non-QM on the street. I would say that we have the top AEs in the country, and they really understand the program. So they protect you if you've never done one of these before. So if you call your account executive, they're going to help you with the NONI calculator, and they will make sure that when you give your consumer that rate quote, that it's accurate. So how is NONI different from the competition? I think that's what's important. So we may look and feel the same, but when qualifying for that DSCR, when you qualify that for that payment, do we qualify off fully indexed? No, we qualify off start rate or interest-only payment. And at a 575, guys, that's pretty amazing. And you don't have to have a 760 score to have a 575 rate. So most of our loans, DSCR on a one-on-one, because we are qualifying off a 575 IO payment versus a fully indexed payment. Our competition has margins at 5 to 6% plus LIBOR. You're finding yourself having to have a rent that is, a payment is 7%, 7.5%. So that's not going to happen. We allow interest only on our loans. The competition doesn't always. We will take higher rents than the 1007 if you can prove it via 2 months bank statements. So we will take higher where the competition will take lower of 2. We qualify on a one-on-one, 1% DSCR. Rent meets that interest-only tax, insurance, and association payment. The competition's at 115, sometimes higher, especially to get those lower rates in the 5s. Sometimes they want you to be at a 130 or 135. Keep that in mind. The margin does not affect pricing with the NONI. Again, my competitors have a 5 or 6% margin. If it's fully indexed, you're not going to qualify for that low rate. So you may get quoted a 6% and end up really having a 7.25 or 7.5 rate for your client and lose them. Max loan amount, 3.5%. Others are at $2 million. Our interest-only period is 10 years. Others are at 5 years. We offer a 30-year fixed. If somebody's older, they've got a ton of property, they just don't want to mess with this anymore, they love our 5.75 or 6.25 would be our 30-year fixed rate, they're going to settle down. We offer the 30-year fixed. Max cash out is $2 million. I've been at a few platforms in the last 5 years, and we have absolutely quivered at $300,000 cash out, $500,000 cash out. So to have a product that's no income, no reserves, and allow $2 million cash out, that's an incredible product. When you have a refi with a property that's vacant because maybe it's being rehabbed, we'll go to 75 LTV. Our competition at times will go to 70. And we do allow IO all the way to 80% on this program. So what's the market opportunity? That's what I want to talk about. So there's a lot of shiny products out there that are being offered. And so you go, well, that's great, Liz, a 575 on a non-owner. But do I have unrealistic guidelines? So I'll give you an example. There's a product out there, 95 LTV debt consolidation. Obviously, it's for primary residences. But it's got a super high credit score for somebody that's probably in debt because they're looking for debt consolidation. So they probably don't have that high credit score. They have unrealistic low debt ratios they ask for. They ask for incredible residual income and reserve requirements. So the product looks great, but does it really sell? Is it consumer accepted, and will a consumer even fit into those guidelines? So the NONI, with the market opportunity out there, is incredible. So you have investors that have grown tremendously, right? So if you look at this market opportunity, there's approximately 1 in 12 taxpayers owning on average 2 units now. So we've had a growth in people owning non-owners. In California alone, there's nearly 6 million non-owner units. So that represents 45% of all units in the state. So What is the value here? The value is that you're going to sell a 5.75 interest rate. Hard money and private money is 200 to 300 basis points higher. You have an incredible marketplace, a low credit score requirement, and you have a ton of investors that you know cannot be full doc because they write everything off. So you have a no income, no reserve, 5.75 rate, and the market opportunity over the United States is incredible. Brian Filke put a beautiful stats for us on the growth in non-owners in the United States. So I'd love for you guys to watch this webinar and just take a look at what an opportunity there is. So if somebody says, well, I don't have those deals. I don't do non-owners. Well, I don't think you've looked in your LOS system because it's all there. So guys, we created a rate sheet that's on theLender.com. If you go to rates, you'll find it there. Here's the NONI. Isn't this thing beautiful? I love it. It's got one bracket for loan amount, one bracket for reserves, 3 FICO tiers, and those rates are beautiful for a non-owner, no-income product. The only thing you have to remember is these loans have a 3-year prepay, a 3-year hard prepay, so you have to add a quarter to rate. So a 5.99 rate would be a 5/1 ARM IO if you wanted a 1-year hard, 2-year soft. So make sure when you're selling these loans that you understand what your investor is thinking. Is he holding on for a long time, or is he planning on selling? Does he need a 30-year fixed? As you can see, as I promised, there's no ads on our rate sheet for units, for cash out, for condo, for lates. We do allow 1 times 30. No IO ad, so keep that in mind. If your rent does not cover your ITIA, you turn into a truly no income. We'll still need the 1007 on that appraisal, and the rates can fluctuate anywhere from 6.875 to 7.99. Just keep in mind that when your rent doesn't cover your mortgage and you're quoting this, make sure you looked at your matrices because there is a 5% LTV reduction, and we will not allow first-time investors. And I want to make sure that you understand what NONI considers a first-time investor. It's somebody that has not owned a property in the last 3 years for at least 12 months. So we give you a lot of grace there. Okay, so let's move on now to how easy it is to calculate DSCR or NONI with us. So what I did is I put up a beautiful example on a quote I just did last night. So this calculation is simple. This is going to be a calculator that is on the NONI toolbox, and you can go on the landing page. You go to theLender.com, you go to NONI, and you'll see the NONI toolbox. We have a calculator that you hold at your desktop so that every time you do a quote, you make sure to enter all the information and you know exactly what your rents have to be. So if you see on the far right, it's our NONI calculator. You enter the rate, you enter the term, you enter whether it's IO or not, and keep in mind, if you go to a fixed, you don't have an IO option. If you don't have an IO option, your payment is going to be higher, which means your rent has to be higher, right? So in this case, we had a loan amount of $525. Our taxes were what they were and insurance are what it is. And our ITIA payment, if you see in the second box, is $3,092. I took a snapshot of a rent schedule, of a rental survey off of an appraisal. It's small, hopefully you can see it, but it's $32.25. So that $32.25 meets that ITIA payment. What I want to show you is that some of the AEs walking through your door may know or may not that they require fully indexed rate to qualify DSCR. So if you see that second box that says fully indexed, that payment would have to be $5,300 for rent. Not a lot out there renting for $5,300 unless it's an Airbnb or VRBO or some mansion, right? In this case, because you're working with us with the NONI, all you needed was $3,092, and we got $32.25. So just so you know, this is a deal that fell out of Fannie. One of my brokers called me last night and said, hey, listen, my appraisal came in low. I'm at 80. My rate went from somewhere in the 5s to 6 3/4, and your NONI at a 5/1 ARM is priced better than a Fannie deal. So he has had this become his net for turn downs on the Fannie side. So hopefully this is a great example of how easy it is to calculate if you NONI or not, DSCR or not at 1%. All right, so let's get to the good stuff. So NONI paid out $500,000 in commissions in 45 days. And we just got started. People don't even know about our product, right? So we've got some super sharp brokers that have gotten on the bandwagon and said, all right, let's do this. So my advice is don't get left behind. Put a business plan together to make NONI one of your staple products, as one of my brokers did. It's his catch-all. So anything that doesn't qualify non-owner, he puts in this bucket. And sometimes he even starts with NONI. It's just become a staple product for him. It closes in 14 days. It doesn't bog down his processor, right? So by marketing NONI, I believe you're going to grow your agency and government business. I have walked into 2 agency and government platforms over the last 5 years. I got all of my boys pitching this product, and they started to fill their pipelines with FHA and also with agency stuff, because you're out there selling something different versus just the vanilla and chocolate. And then my advice, too, is, because I've done retail, is don't wait till rates go up again to learn and sell this product. Why let the other guys take market share? Make this a staple product. So here's a few deals that NONI wants to share that she closed in 14 days last month. So we had a single family. Loan amount was small, $150,000. LTV was 65%. 575, 5-1 arm. The borrower cashed out, ton of cash out, $143,000. So awesome. So broker commission was what? $49.95. Not too shabby for a $150,000 deal. Even the small ones make good money. You can make up to 5% on these deals. Here's a purchase, single family, 30-year fix, 6.25, right? Because we got that 50 bit bad. Was an LTV at 80%. Again, 20 down. You could have some gift funds there. Loan amount was $260,000. That broker commission, $5,200. Another purchase funded in 14 days or less. This one's a large one. 575 IO. You might say, well, that doesn't DSCR. No, it does. With 4 units and rents being the highest they've probably ever been in history. A $1.6 million loan amount at 75 LTV on 4 units did DSCR, and the rate was 575, interest only. Broker's commission was $18,000. Another deal funded, 75 LTV, loan amount was $700,000. They almost cashed out $100,000. Again, another 575 IO, 5-1 arm. Commission, $14,000. My point to you is to constantly show you that I am funding loans at 575 and not at 7% and not at 6875, because we do DSCR, because we qualify off the IO. Another purchase, 4 units, $810,000. The loan amount was $607,000. The broker was conservative. He charged a point. Still, $6,100. Closed in 14 days. All right, so let's get on to some special announcements that we've been talking about. So NONI has brought us an amazing non-owner, no-income, no-reserve product to 80% LTV at 5 3/4 that does DSCR, unlike the competition. If you become a super NONI, which we'll get into, you get free leads. Those started a month ago, right? So free leads for investors that are stuck in high, hard money rates. We're handing those to you. So my owners came up with that brilliant idea. They thought, let's bring some more value to the table. Let's not just pitch this product. Yes, it's great, but let's help them find it. We give you free appraisals if your loan amount's $500,000, and we've reduced the fees if you become a super NONI. So she's given you all this, and now we've expanded it. We've spent the last 2 months working with our compliance department and our counsel to allow you to grow your reach throughout the United States. So what does that mean? That NONI is going to allow you to do business in states you're not licensed in. NONI loans are really thought of as a business purpose commercial loan, so there's minimal licensing requirements. So if you look at our landing page, so if you go to www.thelender.com, you can go to NONI, and you will find everything NONI, from our checklist to every webinar we've ever taught, to the toolbox with the calculator, checklists, fact sheets. Read those fact sheets. There's so much niche product in there. Vesting in LLCs. And then, of course, our latest announcement is that you can do business in all of these states. And I know it's tiny print, But you can register as a foreign corporation in most of the states right now that are in blue. You just hit the link, and we've done all the work for you. It tells you exactly what you have to do business in that state. And most of those states will simply require a certificate to do business that takes a few days, maybe a week. And next thing you know, let's just say you're a California broker, or you're a Maryland broker. You only have licensing there. I am going to open up doors to almost the entire country for you. So when you do get an investor that's out in Arizona or is out in California or Colorado and you're not licensed, you just fill out some simple information. Typically, it's just registering to do business. And if you go on this landing page, you can click on the state and you can take a look at what, there are a few states that are a little stricter, but most of them, it's very little documentation. So I wanted to announce that. That starts in August. Okay? So I want to make sure you guys know that. Okay, so why should you become a Super NONI broker? It's just, I'm just going back to it. We had an Orange County broker for Ryan Mercey. I always say his name wrong, but he's one of our top reps here. He actually he signed up to be a Super NONI, and he got free leads. He immediately got on it, and he got a $1.5 million deal locally. So he can make a 0.2 on that. I don't know how much he's going to make, but it's a free lead. He didn't have to pay marketing fees or referral payouts. So your own lender is providing leads for you. It's a win-win. So I want to show you, you need to go on the Super NONI. You go on our website, to thelender.com. There's the NONI, and then there's the Super NONI. So log on to the Super NONI today. Get registered. Start getting those leads in your email. If you tell me you don't have business, you don't have time for it, hire a college student. Have them start dialing for dollars at night and finding these investors that are stuck in high rates. All right, recap of the NONI business plan. So what do you need to do? You need to get approved with the lender if you're not, like right now, today. Watch the webinars on the NONI landing page, right? At thelender.com. Sign up to be a Super NONI. Free leads, free appraisals for loan amounts of $500,000, and reduction in fees. Hire someone to call on those leads, like I said. And soon enough, because in August we're rolling out being able to do business in states you're not licensed in, we will send you a commercial broker application if you request it, and you can start doing business in August. I can't promise that it is the first week of August. We believe that by the last week of August, we will be ready to go for you to start submitting loans in states you're not licensed in, as long as you've gone to the link and complied with the simple regulations, maybe just signing up to do business. All right, so you've heard about all the great things that NONI is. You can see this picture. There's a few things NONI doesn't like, and I've got some brokers that are on the call that totally know it. So NONI does not like primary residence loans for NONI. So, 575, no income, no reserves. There's a lot of people submitting primary residence. So we've been doing this for a very long time. We have incredible teams here. Do your diligence. You may not do it on purpose, but ask the questions. Use our diligence checklist. It's there for you. We don't want somebody that doesn't own a primary home. We don't want first-time home buyers, and then all of a sudden you're buying a larger home that's worth $1 million more than your current home. You guys are smart. You've been doing this for a long time. I don't need to teach you. A few other things to keep in mind: condos over 60 LTV in Florida. NONI doesn't like those. Foreign nationals max at 65. We're not going to 80. We're not going over $1 million. And remember, multiple housing events, not necessarily mods, but multiple foreclosures and bankruptcies is not something this product likes. So keep that in mind. All right, guys, just to recap, $500,000 in commissions. We're going to quadruple that. Be a part of it. Okay? 45 days. We've already paid $500,000 in commission, 14-day closings. You know the spiel. I've said it over and over. I appreciate your time. I'm going to go ahead and open this up for questions. If people want to write in their questions, I'm not going to unmute because it'll get too noisy. We've got quite a few people here, but I will start to answer some questions if there are any. Okay, so the first question is, do you allow foreign nationals? We absolutely do, but we are capped at 65 LTV. And we definitely are capped at $1 million. That works for a lot of foreign nationals because they have a lot of money. Just be careful with foreign nationals. I mean, the foreign national product is made for investment. It's not made for a primary home. So make sure that, that's understood. Also, make sure that it follows the guidelines. And if you need guidelines on foreign nationals for NONI, we will get that out to you. Okay? Let's look at some other questions. Okay, so somebody's got questions in regards to a quote, some pre-qual options, as well as submitting a loan. So I promise we will email you quickly. One of our AEs will get a hold of you soon. Okay, somebody loves NONI. She's super cute, right? Okay, so how long does a bankruptcy have to be discharged for this program? So any type of housing event, any life event, we're looking at 3 years. So is a purchase mortgage for a vacant property capped at 75 LTV? No, absolutely not. So if somebody's buying a property and it happens to be vacant, I mean, they could have just moved out. It could have been their primary residence. I will do full LTV, 80%. And guys, remember, Airbnb and VRBO I didn't teach on today because I didn't want to get too lengthy, but on Airbnb and VRBO, we do those. That's a huge door opener for real estate investors. That's a new world, and people are investing in Airbnb and VRBOs and paying those mortgages in a season sometimes because they can rent these places for $500 a night. Now remember, on purchase money, I'll still do 80% on an Airbnb and VRBO, but I have to use the 1007, right? So if it's a big purchase, they might have to do less than 1% and come back to us in a year, right? So keep that in mind. But on purchase money, vacant property doesn't matter. I'm going to go off that 1007 and I'll go to 80 LTV as long as the DSCR is 1%. So commercial loan for a warehouse or office units, unfortunately, we don't do that here. We don't do commercial loans for a warehouse or office units. We will eventually, I don't know when, start to do units, 5 to 25 at some point, and that's our goal. We want to grow that business. It's very lucrative, and we're always looking to bring value to our brokers. Where can I get a copy of this PowerPoint? So we usually take 24 hours. We email them to you the next day for everybody that registered, and we also allow you to go to thelender.com, go to Everything NONI, and you'll be able to watch all our PowerPoints. This is our 4th PowerPoint. I think that there's incredible value on Brian Filkey's first webinar, and then there were 2 others that I did, so now we're at our 4th. So if somebody wants to invest and they don't own a primary residence and they're a first-time home buyer, NONI will not be for them. So I need a borrower that's not a first-time home buyer. We get a lot of people that don't own a primary residence. They can document where they live, they can document their rent, and they can show us that they've been a landlord, that they've been an investor for a few years, and they have other investments, even just one, right? So I can do a refi cash out if you can show me that they've never lived there, that they truly have a tenant, that all utilities go to wherever they're renting. It's a free country. So you don't have to own a primary residence, but be very ready for the skill set that I have here in underwriting. So if it looks and feels like a primary, we're going to decline it. What if you live with parents or rent-free? I think I answered that. We really typically don't like to see, if I have an investor that happens to own a few properties and has shown to be a real estate investor for a long time, and there's a very good story on why they're living with elderly parents, maybe they're ill, and they can prove that they truly lived there for a few years, we might have a deal there. But again, that's subjective to the file, to the underwriting. Loan for a commercial use. So all of these loans, when it's cash out, needs to be for business purpose. It can be used for commercial use. We will consider some forms of commercial use, and what I'll do is I'll take note of this and email you privately, but there are a few instances where we will, on exception, allow commercial use for certain types of properties, and we'll get into that. I'll email you. Do you accept mortgage late payments in the last 12 months? We allow 1 times 30. How about the near prime? So we do have a near prime program, but that is not a NONI. So that's a whole different product. I'll email you on that. That's a whole different product. That's ATR, full doc or bank statements. So. A veterinarian office that pays rent to the owner, that's probably a no. I'll email you privately. And I think that's it. We got a lot of questions. I appreciate the big showing. If I happen to have any competitors on this call, I am hiring account executives and I am paying well. I have quite a few reps already doing $10 million of this product, day 45. So I'd love to talk to you if you could reach out either to Mike McCarthy, our Western Division Manager, who he's excellent, or myself. We're hiring. Okay, guys, have a beautiful day. And if I didn't answer a question, I promise to email you soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.